In this section, number 31, we're going to talk about reading and writing decimal numbers. Before we can really learn or talk about reading and writing decimal numbers, we need to know the position values. For example, to the left of the decimal, and of course there's the decimal, to the left of the decimals was the ones, the tens, the hundreds, the thousands, the 10,000s. Well, we have names for the positions to the right of the decimal. The first position is called the tenth, and the next one is the hundredth, and the next one is called the thousandth, and then the next one is called the 10,000th, and then the hundredth, thousandth, and then the millionth, and then the 10 millions. It's very similar to what we have to the left, except it ends in TH instead of S, and there is no ones. That is, if you go to the left of the decimal and you just ignore the ones place, it's exactly the same, but reading backwards, and TH. So you have the ones, the tens, the hundreds, the thousands, the 10,000s, etc. Well, let me write this more neatly. To the left of the decimal, you have the ones, the tens, the hundred, the thousand, the 10,000, the millions, the ones, the tens, the hundreds, the thousands, the 10,000s, and the millions. That's to the left of the decimal. To the right of the decimal, it's just these reading backward, and you say TH. You have the tenths. You have the hundredth. You have the thousandth. You have the 10,000s, etc. Notice we only had these to the right of the decimal with the TH. We didn't have anything called ones. We don't have that. Why? I have no idea. Well, I do have some idea, but that's the way it is. So now that we understand the positions, we can talk about how to read the number. Say you have 0.234. How do you read it? Well, first you need to know what that position is. Remember, you have the tens, you have the thousands, the hundreds, and then you have the thousands. So this is read as, and just read this number, or write this number exactly the way it is, 234. It's 234 thousands. Kind of ran out of room, but what goes there will now be thousands. 234 thousandths. If you had 3, 4, 5, 6, first write down this number, 3,456. Notice I'm not underlining the decimal. Just write down this number. There's no decimal there. It's 3,456. 3,456. Now I have to say 3,456 what? So we need to know what that position is. The tens, the hundreds, the thousands, that's the 10,000s. 10,000s. 3,456 10,000s. That is exactly how you would write that number and read it. If you were asked how to read this number, well, this number is just 46. So this is 46. 46 what? Tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, hundred thousands, million, and that's going to be the 10 millions. 46, 10 millions. Okay, 46, 10 millions. Read this number like normal, and then follow it off by that position value. 46, that position value is 10 millions. And that's how you go home and you study. You just don't so much do the problem. Of course you know how to read 46. But you have to say, if I have a decimal, how do I read that number? Well, how do I write the number? I just read or write the number to the right of the decimal. And then I look at that last position and I say that name. Now, if you had 0.240, keep in mind that that equals 0.24. So there's two ways of writing or stating this number. That number is 254. This is 200. I don't know what I'm saying. This number is 240. 240. 240 and tens, hundreds, thousands. 240 thousands. Or, that's 24. That's 24. Tens, hundred. Excuse me. 24 hundred. Two ways of reading it. And writing it, of course. And saying it. The zeros at the end, if you're to the right of the decimal, the zeros to the right are not needed. That is 7204 or 214.272043100. Which to the right of the decimal over here If it ends in a few zeros, you can cross them out. You cannot cross off that zero. Only if they're all the way to the right. They have to be to the right of the decimal. In other words, 2200 is not, oh, I don't need the zero. It does not equal 22. If somebody owes me $2,200, I would not accept $22. I'll accept $2,200 bills, also known as 2200. But I wouldn't accept 22. I would fail cheated. Now, the last number we looked at was this number. What if I could say the number 7 in front? This number, of course, is 7. That symbol, I said a couple of times in earlier videos, is the word, read it as the word AND, and how you read 0.00, etc. In this case, 0.000046. Well, this number is 46. 46 and tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000, 100,000, millions, 10 million. Of course, if you wanted to think of like commas like we do to the left, the first two, those are, imagine there was a 1. You have the 1, the 10, the 100, and then the thousands, the 10,000s, the 100,000s, and the millions. So here you have the thousands, and including that digit there, you have the millions. The 1 millions, the 10 millions, the 100 millions. So if you go by groups of 3, except the first two, because at the beginning, the first group is only 2. And then 3, and then another 3, and then another 3 for the trillions, etc. So that way, we can immediately say, oh, those are 46 millions. Actually, that's the 10 millionth position. 1's tens. Okay. Read and write. So, I'm going to give it to you in words and ask you to read it. 70,000 and 900 6 10 thousands. Well, there's the word and. That's the decimal. What's to the left is 70,000. Well, the thousands go here. We only have 70 of them. The rest are all zeros. That's just 70,000. Now we have 906 10,000s. Tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. Well, 906 uses up 3 positions. And I have to end right there in the 10,000th position. So basically just read it backwards. 6, 0, 9. Oh, I need a placeholder. Go to the 10,000th position and write 906. So the 6, the last digit in 906, ends right here. So there it is, 906. And you need to put in a placeholder. This number is 70,000, and this number is 906. and it ends in the 10,000th position. So it's 70,906 10,000. Don't say and except when you're by the decimal. You don't say 406. If somebody said to me 406, I would ask them 6 what? 6 tens, 600. Somebody were to say to you 406. Well, and means decimal. I know how to write down 400. There it is. I even know how to write down 6. But 6 what? Okay? The and separates the whole numbers from the decimal part, the fraction. You want to say in 600s? Fine. That makes sense. But if you just say 406, that makes no sense. Hundreds. Tens, hundreds. 6 looks like this. The last digit of the 6, which happens to be the only digit, is 6. 6 must end up in the 100th position, the rightmost position. 06 is also 6. And that is how you would write 400 and 600s. But if somebody asked me to write down 406, and it was a math class, I would say, I don't know. Somebody tells me the bill is $406. I know what they mean. They're mathematically wrong, but of course I know they mean $406. You are asked to write down 400 millions. The tens, the hundreds, then the thousands, this, and then the millions, this. Well, 400, of course, is 400. And you have to end up in the millions position. Not the 10 millions, not the 100 millions. Well, 400 is 400. 004. And the rest are all zeros. This here, 0.0000400 is the same, is equal to 400 million. After all, this number is 400, and that position, minus some silly error on my part, is the millionth position. Tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000, 100,000, millions. The last digit in the 400 should be in the millionth position. So this digit is right there, this digit is right here, and the first digit is right there. And I needed some placeholders. You're not going to write point, space, 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 400. This is not a number. You need to put in the placeholders. That's the number. Know your position. Write the digit, write the number, so it ends up in that, because the last digit ends in that position. What did that statement mean? If you wanted to write 328 10,000. 10,000 is achieved. What if it were a little different? It's 84 and 328 10,000. Well, the and, that's the decimal. What's before the decimal is 84. Well, that was pretty straightforward. I know how to write 84. The next number is 328. That goes that way. Don't just say, oh, this is first grade. 328. 84.328. Nope. That may be right, but that would be a coincidence. You go to the 10,000th position. Tenths, hundredths, thousands, 10,000ths. And the 8 goes there, and the 2 goes there, and the 3 goes there, and there's an undisturbed 0, or if you want to say, if there's any spaces left over, put a 0. So there it is. 84 and 328, this position, 10,000ths. 84 and 328 10,000ths. Try another one. How about 8,024 and 2,304 hundred millions. Fine. Each of these numbers, that's not a number. Maybe these numbers should have been written out in words. Okay. So the end, that's my decimal. 8,024. Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands. Well, I have 8,000s, and I have 24. I have no hundreds. Okay, and I have nothing to the left of the 8,000. That's how you write 8,024. Excuse me, 8,024. And 2,304. That's 2,304. Kind of ignore the comma though. 2,304. Tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s. Kind of have a little division line here. These are the thousands. And then the millions. Well, we're going out to the 100 millions. That's the 1 million, 10 million, 100 million. So the 4 in the 2,304 must end here. Just write it backwards, or read it backwards. 4, 0, 3, 2. Any of those spaces have no digits? Like these 4, put zeros in them. Why don't they have anything there? Because the 2304 really starts right here. So you had nothing before it. Oh, put zeros in. Here is your answer. Here is your answer. Yes, you have to study. You have to know the positions like you know your name. If you don't know the positions, you can't do this. And you have to understand that you don't say the word and unless you're at the decimal. And as a college-educated person, you should not say the word and unless you mean decimal. Okay, let's try one more now to read it. Suppose you have 83 and 83 10,000. Okay, and very important. Here's and. Before and is 83. I know how to write that. Now, to the right is 83 10,000. Of course, I know how to write 83. I know I do, because I just wrote it down. So now we have to know where the 10,000th position is. The next 3 are the thousands. So we're only going out not to the ones, not to the 100,000, but to the 10,000. That is, we didn't need that. and I write this number down where the 3 goes in the 10,000th position and anything to the left goes to the left. Like the 8. Okay, and fill in 0. So the answer is 83.0083. You have to know your positions. Go and study them. That finishes the section on reading and writing decimal numbers.